Hi guys, Ren here, and welcome to the workshop. If you follow me and have been following me for a while, then you probably know that my main focus as a rider is time trialing. It's the discipline I like the most and what I'm the best at, so that's what I'm trying to improve even more. My goal for last year was winning the time trial nationals, which didn't go as planned, and I was already at a quite a high level with my fitness and equipment. But for this year, I wanted to go all out and just get the best out of me. And for that, well, I'm not a professional coach. I don't have education in that area. So I enlisted the help of Arek Kogut, who is the founder of a coaching company in Poland called Way to Champ. And since January, we've been working together on improving my time trialing, improving my power output, and hopefully making me faster. And if you follow me on Strava, then you know that this involves some pretty big changes in my training. And there have been many questions also from you, the viewers, on how to improve your time trialing. So what we have decided to do is to put together a video series where we are going to talk about time trial training and its specifics in depth, and also regarding your equipment choices, your pacing, your warm-ups, etc. So basically everything you need to know to really take your time trialing to the next level. So for now, Arek will join me in this little broadcast, and we'll start delving into the topics a little bit deeper. Hi Arek, I would like to welcome you to the channel. I have already introduced you to the viewers as my coach and what we are working on at the moment. So today, as we have planned, we were going to discuss some basics and specifics of time trial training.
Okay, great. Let's start.
Okay, so a time trial is quite different from a road race because it's a much longer sustained effort than you normally experience there. So what is happening in the body during this effort? What energy systems are you using, and what really is required to generate power for such a long duration?
Yeah, normally a road race, which is, let's say, more flat course or hilly course, there are many intervals. So the variability index of the road race is much higher than on time trial. So we have the spikes and peaks of 700 watts, 1000 watts, and more. Whenever in time trial, we have to pace ourselves as smooth as we can so that we save the energy and we build up the speed. And for me, as the coach and as a former athlete, I was also racing for 10 years in time trialing and road racing. The most important in time trial is speed. So we build the speed up with two things, the power and the position on the bike. So we will go over the position and over the equipment in the next chapters. But for now, what is most important for me as a coach and for you as you are doing time trials, you, Ronnie, and the people who are listening to us, is going as smooth as possible. And also what I see, the big mistake is that some people are trying to go too fast at the very beginning because
That's a common mistake.
Yeah, you have the time trial, let's say, of 20, 30, 40 kilometers. And on the first minute, it's very easy. You have the adrenaline boosting, you are boosted with caffeine also, you are good warm up, and you see 400 watts, let's say, on your device. And yeah, that's really nice. I don't feel the chain, let's say, yeah. So my legs are really fresh, so I can put it. It will be my day, yeah. And after 3-4 minutes, you are fading, and you cannot even keep like 300, 320, depends on what FTP and what kilos are you in. But generally, I am telling about not starting too fast at the beginning and sustaining the speed and the power during the course. It was pretty much the same what you did on Saturday, let's say, on the com, which you done.
Yeah, I have a bit of experience with time trialing, so I was careful with that. So basically, what we need to get a good time trial is to get a high FTP. Is that correct? A high threshold power that we can sustain.
Yeah. If you want to be the champion of time trialing, at first you have to build your FTP, but then when you get to it, then you want to make it even higher and make the anaerobic systems also working very well. Because let's say most of us can hit the FTP of around 4.2 to 4.6, and it is not very demanding due to the physiological and genetical systems or history. So I mean that if you want to go 5 watts per kilo or more, as you have to be genetically talented. So I mean VO2 max of 70 and above. But most of people can easily, I mean not easily, it's hard of course, but it's possible to get to around 4.5, which is pretty well due to most of the amateurs, especially if you connect it with the good position, good bike, good equipment. So it is yeah, it is giving you nice speed of around 44, 45 kilometer per hour, depends on the course. But generally, you want to build up the FTP, and also you want to build up the endurance. So at the very beginning, those are two most important elements. If you are using the training peaks and you are seeing all the numbers, I will not concentrate only on doing short, hard intervals on time trial, but I will also focus on building the endurance engine because it is working like this, especially if you have long time trials, like all above 20 minutes, let's say, that your aerobic system is very important, and the body is depending not only on the threshold power and anaerobic systems, but on the very great amount on the anaerobic one. So with the oxygen. So you want to hit every, let's say, 7 to 10 days a good endurance workout. So I mean by this 3, 4, 5 hours, depends on your level, just to build up the aerobic engine and make sure that it is also on the good level.
Yeah, so we can sum it up basically that FTP is important, but you need to work also around that, so below and above, to have all the systems ready to give a good performance. Okay, and it's a theme that's often discussed now. How does strength training on and off the bike come into this?
Yeah, I think it's really important. Also, what we did in your training was building up the muscles, especially when the people are of the body build like yours. So very skinny, 60 something kilos. Then you have to build up the strength because naturally you don't have it. So naturally you have the endurance and the high FTP which you can build, but what you lack is the high power and also improving those muscles which normally on the bike don't function as well in most people. So normally we use mostly quadriceps and the muscles which are hamstrings, I mean, but you probably don't use so much glutes, so that you have to include in your muscle workouts the workouts which are improving your glutes, your back, your stomach, your arms, so that with all of this you are building your power up with amounts of 10-15%, which is then increasing the speed. But I will concentrate for sure on the gym. And if you are the beginner or you are not so advanced in time trial, I would hit into 1 gym per week, and the best is 2 to 3 times. But at first, even 1 time per week will give you a very big boost in the power, especially if you haven't done it before. And then you can also sustain the position on the bike, because now the CDA and the factor of aerodynamics is really important in time trialing, not only the power which you are generating. And the stronger upper body you have, so the back, the stomach, the arms, the easier you can sustain the very demanding position, so that the legs have the bigger, let's say, room to generate the power, because they don't have to sustain the upper body.
Yeah, so basically it can muscle strength can be a big limiting factor, especially for someone like me in developing time trial power. And particularly if you're not used to the position that you are required to ride in order to go fast. Yeah, so strength training, we have covered that. Then another question that I get asked is, how important is heart rate or heart rate versus power? Can we train on just power or just on the heart rate, or is it better to use a combination of both? Or in racing, maybe I've heard that some pros, they just ride on feel. What do you think about that?
I think we have to divide those parts into two things. Like, first thing is training, and the second part is racing. So in the training, I would use everything which is possible, so that the power and the heart rate as the combination, because the power shows us, let's say, in the parallel to the car. So the power meter shows us the speed of the car, and the heart rate is showing us how strong the engine is working. So that it indicates if we are giving our maximum or not, and what we can reach on the training. Sometimes we can not reach on the race, and the opposite. Most people are working like this, but they are not so motivated on the training, and they hit lower numbers, both to the power and both to the heart rate. And then on race, when you want to duplicate it, you are limiting yourself, because let's say you are going to the race, there are many of your colleagues, rivals, adrenaline is boosting, and let's say you had done the test of 20 minutes on training, and you had done like 320 watts, and you are into this, and you are doing the time trial 20 minutes, also 320, but you can feel that it was the limiter for you, but you could hit more. So that some pros are doing like this, but they are hiding the numbers on the race, so both power and both heart rate, and then are using only speed and cadence sometimes, and of course the distance. So that what they focus on is the average speed they want to achieve during the race, and this is the only thing they concentrate on. And of course on their feelings, because they know when they are fading or when they don't hit the power. But generally what I advise to do is go on the feelings, especially on the race, much more regularly, and don't limit yourself to the numbers you did on the training. Because what we want to do on the race is build up those numbers, overachieve, let's say.
Yeah, it always gives you a mental boost. As for me, I would never race without my numbers because I find it's better for my mind to just keep pushing and keep trying to not let the numbers fall down. But what most people don't realize, I think, that even though we talked about earlier about overpacing the beginning and trying to have it as flat as possible, in some courses it's not the fastest way to go around, because ultimately we want to achieve the highest possible speed and the lowest possible time, and not the highest possible average power, because these might not be inclined.
Yeah, especially you had covered before, when you had the time trial with the headwind in the first part. So it was the time trial of 40 kilometers, where first 20 kilometers were into the headwind. So if you want just to go on your FTP and nothing more, then you would also limit yourself, because in the headwind, this is the part where we can hit the we can build the time much better than in the other parts, because hill is the place where the time trial is won or the time trial is lost. So that this is also why we are working on anaerobic systems and on the muscle power to go on such segments and such parts of the course higher than FTP. So 110, 120 even percent of FTP to go those few percents higher, because on the finish we know that every second counts. So
yeah, and that's in the hard parts, that on the climbs, on the headwind, that's where you can save time, where, for example, in the high speed section it's very difficult to gain time without expending too much power. Okay, so I think those are the basics covered. For the next one, we are going to look into periodization of time trial training and how to divide your season, how to do your cycles, and what to focus on. So if you're interested in that, we'll be back with Arek and we'll look in depth at my training and how it should look like as far as the season goes. So that's all for today. Thank you, Arek, for joining me.
Thank you.
And helping the viewers and helping me, of course. And we'll see each other next time. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.